The Emergency Conflagration Act has now been invoked for the Beachcomb and Bench fires. Our Jake Holter went to Warm Springs and brings us the latest.
Fire still actively burning here in Warm Springs, but the scene overnight was even crazier. You can see the charred earth. Fire was right where I'm standing, and that means that fire even went over Highway 26, closing the roadway overnight. It reopened this morning, and you can see all of the damage on the other side as well.
When I observed the fire getting on the top of that ridge and it started to get closer and closer, my level of stress kind of increased a little bit.
Longtime Warm Springs resident William Wilson capturing the Bench Beachcomb fire inching closer to his house. His home in an evacuation zone.
I made a decision myself as a prior firefighter to stay here in my home and make a stand to protect it.
You can see where the burn stopped on the hill. Wilson proud of work he did as a firefighter, clearing brush and trees that helped stop the fire from advancing further down.
That created, 200 feet of defensible space for just a situation like this. We never knew if it was going to happen or not, but when it does happen, those lines are there and available.
And while Wilson's home and neighborhood have been spared for now, the area hasn't gone untouched. The flames eating everything but the chimney at this home off Disney Lane. Thankfully, officials tell me no one was living here at the time. Fire officials say about 2,400 people have been evacuated because of these fires.
Overnight, we have the Beachcomb fire, which blew across to the east side due to erratic winds that went up to 30 miles per hour. We have the Bench fire, which shot up, north as well. These two fires overnight have merged into one.
Last counts had the Bench fire at 6,200 acres and the Beachcomb fire at 2,300 acres. But now that they've grown and merged, officials say those numbers could have doubled, but heavy smoke has prevented accurate mapping. About 250 people are working to control these fires, including by helicopter.
We did have fire retardant drop along here, which has been successful for crews overnight. And down south, we do have crews working on hand lines all the way down to the river to reinforce this area, basically.
Information on property damage is still being collected and will be released soon. Jake Holter, KGW News.
Well, near Warm Springs, about 2 hours east of Portland, two wildfires have now merged into one, and we're talking about the Beachcomb and Bench fires.
Governor Tina Kotek has invoked an emergency act, which gives the state access to more resources to fight those growing fires. Devin Haskins joining us live this morning with an update on where things stand. So, Devin, what's the latest here?
Yeah, at the last update, both of these fires burning out of control with 0% containment. And at the last update last night, the two fires merging and growing, more than tripling in size. The winds in central Oregon helping push this fire across Highway 26 at one point, shutting down the highway for a time as it burned through that highway now back open. There are level 1, 2, and 3 evacuation levels for the combined fire, with fire officials saying there are still about 2,400 homes under evacuation orders. About 250 firefighters are working to control these fires, including by helicopter. KGW News caught up with longtime Warm Springs resident William Wilson, who's in the evacuation area. He chose to stay home and try and keep his home safe instead of leaving.
The home itself is not what's valuable to me, but it's the contents inside. All the things that I've gathered over the years, all my belongings, all my mementos, pictures, that type of stuff. I'm not going to be able to gather all that up and remove all that in a short period of time.
Officials are saying it's really hard to get a really accurate idea of how large these fires are because of all the smoke in the area, and they're still trying to understand how many homes have also burned.
Oregon's wildfire crisis is getting worse, and the latest numbers prove it. 2 fires burning near Warm Springs have now been mapped as one, and it's a big jump in size. Official state and federal fire mapping shows the merged Bench and Beachcomb fire perimeter at just over 40,296 acres, current as of 10:28 p.m. Sunday night, still at 0% contained. That's up from the separate operational numbers fire managers had reported just a few hours earlier Sunday evening. 20,180 acres for Bench and 13,648 for Beachcomb before the two perimeters were mapped as fully merged. Across the United States right now, 90 large wildfires are actively burning. That number jumped by 10 new large incidents just yesterday alone. Those 90 fires are collectively burning through 1,865,000 acres. The response: 25,310 firefighters and support personnel engaged nationwide right now. 565 crews, 1,501 engines, 141 helicopters, 30 complex incident management teams, plus 2 national incident management organizations. This is an enormous operation. And so far this year, we're only in late July. 42,157 fires have burned more than 4 million acres across the U.S. That's 128% of the 10-year average for fires and 121% for acres, well above normal on both counts. Which states are dealing with large fires today? Oregon leads with 21. Minnesota has 6. California has 6. Washington has 5. Idaho has 3. Florida 2. Colorado 2, Louisiana 2, and Utah, Wyoming, Virginia, South Carolina, Montana, each with 1. But Oregon is in a class by itself right now. Let's go there. Oregon has more than 20 named incidents with assigned management teams statewide as of this morning. First, the Roe Creek Complex, burning about 10 miles south of Fossil in Wheeler, Wasco, and Crook counties. It has burned 199,047 acres and is 31% contained. Extreme fire behavior, wind-driven runs, group torching, long-range spotting. Communication infrastructure is threatened. Evacuations, road, and trail closures remain in effect. Second, the Big Grass Fire, BLM land, 25 miles southwest of Jordan Valley in Malheur County. This one is the largest in the state. It has grown to 220,000 acres and is only 5% contained. Extreme fire behavior, uphill runs, wind-driven runs. Numerous structures and communication infrastructure are threatened. Road closures are in effect. Third, the Hay Creek Complex, 5 miles west of Condon in Gilliam County. At 168,510 acres and 50% contained the best progress of any major fire right now. Crews have worked hard to get here. Still seeing active fire behavior with wind-driven runs and flanking. Evacuations remain in effect. Fourth, the Brewer Fire, 15 miles east of Madras and Jefferson and Crook counties. It has grown to 37,319 acres and is at just 5% contained. Extreme fire behavior, wind-driven runs, group torching, spotting, numerous structures and energy infrastructure threatened, evacuations and road closures in effect. Fifth, the Akawa Butte Fire, 13 miles northeast of Sisters. It has burned 26,435 acres, also at 5% containment. Extreme fire behavior with spotting, torching, and wind-driven runs. Numerous structures and critical infrastructure are threatened. Governor Tina Kotek visited this fire on Friday, urging residents to follow all evacuation orders. Sixth, the Shingle Fire, 14 miles southeast of Mitchell and Wheeler County, 30,000 acres, 0% contained. Extreme fire behavior, wind-driven runs, torching, long-range spotting, evacuations in effect. Seventh, a 10-mile fire, 9 miles northeast of Madras, 4,809 acres at 36% containment. Moderate fire behavior here, creeping and smoldering. Crews have been making steady progress and holding the line. And the Grasshopper Fire, brand new in Mount Hood National Forest, 7 miles west of Wamak. 3,500 acres, 0% contained. Extreme fire behavior group, torching, wind-driven runs, spotting, numerous residences threatened, evacuations in effect. Let's talk about the evacuations because this is real impact on real communities. More than 1,000 people are under evacuation orders across the state as of this morning. Level 3 go now. Orders are in effect across Jefferson, Wasco, and Wheeler counties, among others. The Brewer Fire has caused 18 structures lost. Akawa Butte, 2. The East Evans Creek Road Fire in Jackson County, 7. Military air assets have also been deployed. MAF's C-130 air tankers from the 302nd Airlift Wing Air Force Reserve are now operating out of Klamath Falls. Air National Guard tankers from Wyoming and California are staged at Redding. That's a significant federal air mobilization. Here's the deal. This is not just a wildfire story. It's also a public health emergency. Oregon DEQ has issued air quality advisories covering 12 counties: Baker, Crook, Deschutes, Grant, Jefferson, and more. In Prineville, the air quality index hit nearly 300. That's in the very unhealthy to hazardous range. In Bend, AQI above 200 was recorded at 2 monitoring stations. La Pine around 150, still unhealthy. If you are in any of these areas, limit outdoor time, close your windows, run your air filter if you have one. Children, the elderly, and anyone with asthma, COPD, or heart disease need to take this seriously. Check OregonSmoke.org for updates. All right, let's get into the weather. The conditions driving these fires aren't going anywhere fast. Widespread elevated to critical fire weather is developing today across the inland Northwest into the northern Rockies and northwestern Great Basin. Westerly winds 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusts to 35, relative humidity down to 5 to 20%. Hot temperatures near 100 degrees Fahrenheit persisting across the Great Basin, Central Rockies, and Northern Rockies east of the Divide. Those breezy, dry conditions are spreading into the Central Great Basin later today. The fire risk is actually expanding, not shrinking. NWS Pendleton issued an urgent fire weather message this weekend: gusty winds and critical relative humidity through the Central Oregon fire zones. A red flag warning means any fire that develops will catch and spread quickly. Outdoor burning is not recommended anywhere in the region. Let's go region by region across the country. Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, Idaho fire weather elevated to critical through today. Washington has 5 large fires. Idaho has 3. If you're in Central Oregon near Madras on Highway 97 or Highway 26, expect heavy smoke and reduced visibility. Highway 26 west of Wamak is already seeing impacts from the Grasshopper fire. Check ODOT before you travel. The I-84 corridor through the Columbia River Gorge may see smoke impacts depending on wind direction. California, 6 large fires burning today. Hot and dry conditions dominate. The Rock Fire in San Bernardino County at 12,008 acres, 40% contained. Isolated wet monsoon thunderstorms are expected in the southwest. That's New Mexico, Arizona, not California. Great Basin, Nevada, Utah, western Idaho fire risk continues as those dry conditions push in from the north this afternoon. Colorado preparedness level 3, 8 large fires. Mixed thunderstorms brought actual precipitation to several fire areas yesterday. Some relief there. The Aspen Acres fire near Pueblo, 101,879 acres, 61% contained, is the costliest fire in the country at $81.2 million spent to date. Southern High Plains, Western Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, breezy, low humidity dropping to 15%. Elevated fire weather today. Minnesota, 6 fires in the Superior National Forest. Precipitation fell over several fire areas yesterday. Relative humidity holding near 40% today. Better wet thunderstorms expected overnight into Monday. That should bring some additional relief to the Minnesota fires. Florida has 2 large fires, but scattered to numerous wet thunderstorms today should temporarily ease conditions there. All right, back to Oregon. Extended fire weather outlook, and I want to be straight with you about what we know and what we don't. The pattern driving all of this is a persistent high-pressure ridge anchored over the Pacific Northwest in Great Basin. That ridge is suppressing rain and building heat. No significant rainfall is expected for Oregon's fire zones in the near term, none. Temperatures near Madras and Prineville will stay close to 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit over the next several days. Relative humidity recovers a bit overnight. That's when crews get their work windows, then crashes back down each afternoon. That afternoon, humidity crash is what we call critical fire weather. It is happening every single day right now. The 2 biggest unknowns ahead: additional wind events and whether dry lightning returns to eastern Oregon. Big Grass, Brewer, and Akawa are all at 5% containment. Those 3 fires together cover more than 280,000 acres. Any wind event that drives them into unburned fuel could change the picture fast. That's the scenario fire managers are most worried about right now. 3-day outlook. Day 1, today, July 27th, red flag conditions remain, winds gusting to 35, humidity 5 to 20%, temperatures near 100. The grasshopper fire in Mount Hood National Forest is the newest concern. Extreme fire behavior evacuations already in effect. The Bench Beachcomb merged fire near Warm Springs is still evolving, more than 40,000 acres now, 0% contained. Day 2, Monday the 28th, winds ease slightly, but humidity stays critically low. If winds stay down Monday, crews have a real shot at meaningful progress on Hay Creek, already at 50%, and the 10-mile fire at 36%. Day 3 and beyond, uncertainty increases. Some models show slight temperature moderation later in the week. That's not a guarantee. Dry thunderstorm potential returning to eastern Oregon is a real risk. No meaningful rain is in the forecast for fire zones through at least next week. Here's what Oregon state resources look like right now, and this matters for understanding how stretched things are. Governor Kotek issued a preemptive emergency declaration back on June 16th. Since then, the Emergency Conflagration Act has been invoked 10 times. Oregon's own incident management teams are fully committed. The state's in-house capacity has reached its limit. That's why task forces from California and Washington are now operating in Oregon. That's why the Air Force Reserve C-130S are in Klamath Falls. Bottom line, this is not over. The weather pattern has to change before Oregon gets real relief, and that's not happening in the next 48 hours. What we're watching for is any breakdown of that ridge, a Pacific trough moving through that brings cooler air, higher humidity, and some rain to the fire zones. Until that happens, 25,310 people are out there in extreme heat and critically low humidity doing one of the hardest jobs there is. The communities of Fossil, Madras, Prineville, Sisters, Mitchell, and dozens of rural communities across eastern Oregon deserve our attention. I'll be covering this daily. Containment updates, weather shifts, evacuation changes, all of it, as long as this situation remains active. If you want to stay informed and given what's happening out there, I think you do, like this video and subscribe. Turn on notifications. This situation can change fast. You want to be ahead of it, not catching up. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, Oregon. Stay safe across the West. And to the 25,000 firefighters on the line, thank you. We see you. Stay safe out there.